Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay.
cool. I think we're good now, man.
Okay. Thanks for that.
I just think maybe your internet's a little spotty, but I think we're just gonna have to roll with it.
Yeah.
Here, I'm gonna start recording now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. You'll hear it. It's gonna say like recording in progress or something.
Okay.
Recording in progress.
All right, we're good.
Cool. Okay. So I got all the pre-stuff out of the way. So let's get started. So I'm just going to do a little intro since this is like of the podcast section of my project. Hey everyone, welcome to the Sneaker Geeker Podcast, episode 1. My name is Kevin Ochoa, and joining me today is the one and only Brian Medeiros of the Nacho Average Finds YouTube channel. How's your day going, Brian? Can you hear me?
Doing well, my friend. Doing well. Just got back from a long, strenuous walk. Feeling good. Yeah, I can hear you great. Is there a lag?
It said that the internet was spotty, so I just wanted to make sure.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Perfect. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think the internet on your end is a little messed up, my guy.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry about that, man. There was internet issues earlier, like it totally crapped out on me. So if that happens, then, I can go on my phone. I'm just using my computer. So either way, we'll make this work.
Okay, cool. I'm on Ethernet. I pay for like the expensive shit, so
Okay.
we should be good on my audio, but there might be a little bit of it. It might be like CNN, you know.
Yeah. Kind of bit of lag.
But I'm doing well, man. I just came back from a walk, and I'm feeling good, dude. I'm happy to be here.
Cool. Very good. Before we dive into the meat of all of this stuff, I'd maybe like you to briefly explain to the listeners and the people joining us a little background about you, a little about the channel, and what it is you know about sneakers and sneaker culture.
Yeah. So I started the channel. I don't know. It must have been like 5-6 years now. I think about 5-6 years. I don't remember the exact date. And basically, the way it happened was my brother Nacho, who the channel is named after, Nacho Average Finds. He actually was the one who got me into sneakers, kind of, because I was into like music for a long time, and that was kind of my passion. And I went to school for that, and that's what I studied, and that's what I was set out to do. But I was like kind of struggling with that. So at some point during that time, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and buy a camera, and I'm gonna get into photography. And like I walked around LA taking pictures and stuff, and I learned how to use a camera. And then I was watching YouTube, and I thought to myself, you know what, I'm gonna learn video too. So I was too shy to do anything myself. So I was like, I think my brother would be good on camera. He's like very extroverted, and he talks loud, and he has this weird obsession with sneakers, specifically finding like sneakers at a discount, like at discount retailers like Ross, Burlington, Marshalls. Those are all discount retailers here in America. And he was like, cool, yeah, let's do it. So we started doing it, and I just got obsessed with it. And through that, I fell in love with sneakers. Like he would just break down sneakers for me, and actually, it wasn't even for me. He was breaking it down for the people on the camera, and every time he did that, I learned about sneakers, and slowly I started like catch the bug, and until it became like full fledged, and now it's like a part of my personality. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. When you say that like you kind of grew into it, and I like that you like changed directions. Like I started doing music too, going into college, and it's obviously not the same for everybody, and like it's okay to jump around, and I think that's a great way to go with photography, and obviously like perfect setup right into a YouTube career. Did you and your brother have back and forth about your interests? Did he maybe get into sneakers before you? Was he into the camera stuff at all? Did he have any influence on your path, or did you guys kind of find your own paths and come together later?
No, we never really sat down and talked about like what this was gonna be. Like it was really just sort of random, and then and there was like this weird niche on YouTube for a while. Uh, that's not really, it's kind of dead now because you can't really find dope stuff at Ross anymore. But it was like people doing like shop with me videos, you know, like come to Ross and see what we can find. And we kind of we there was this guy on YouTube. His name was Hustler Hacks, and he was kind of the first guy to start doing that. And we were inspired by that. And I was like, yo, we should like, you know, we could do this better, and we could do our own way or whatever. And so we started going in the stores and filming. And so that's why we decided we were going to call the channel Not Your Average Kicks, but we called it Not Your Average Finds because, excuse me, this genre was called Ross Finds, going to Ross, finding sneakers and stuff like that. And it was all super random, like off the cuff, like no planning until much later on, like when we had our first viral video, which was well, for people who don't know, my brother is in Fresno and I'm in Los Angeles. So I would drive to Fresno like every week or every other week and film, and then come back and edit the videos. And at some point that became very like unsustainable, and I just couldn't afford to go over there all the time. So that's when we started doing like the stuff that you see on our channel today, which is like the sneaker history documentaries, kind of like Vox style explainer, Business Insider videos about sneakers. And once that happened, that's when things became more like, all right, this is what we should do, and like, you know, this is your role and this is my role. And that's when things became more, I guess, like we started thinking about things more like a brand, and decisions became a little more thoughtful.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I've been with you guys since the Ross Finds videos, and I think that like genre of videos was super unique at the time, and like it's a shame that it's dead now, and with all the economic stuff that's gone on in the past few years, and all the the boom in sneaker fascination and fashion type stuff has definitely led to a drain in that type of content, and it's a shame, but I think you guys
Yeah.
adapted well, and I think that there's still room to maybe even reminisce about it or like work within what you have. But yeah, I think that like I think also with you and your brother living apart, it doesn't make it worthwhile as much as it would be if you guys both lived in Fresno or both in LA. So
Yeah.
definitely makes sense.
Yeah, I think the plan eventually is to do that, to like, you know, live in the same city, but for now that's kind of how it's been set up. And that's why it's mainly me in the videos, because I'm the guy who films, edits, and I do all the thing. My brother's just kind of like star power. He's way better on camera, and he like I've kind of grown into it. I've
Mhm.
learned, but like if you watch like the first videos I narrated, like the early videos of the channel, like the Nike Cortez video or the Champion video, I'm literally like, I sound like I'm sitting like underneath my blankets with like a cold talking, you know. And a lot of people like commented about that, like, dude, you know, you need to like hire somebody to do voiceovers or whatever. I wasn't even showing my face at the time,
Mhm.
but now I've like kind of learned how to talk and be on camera and stuff. But it's still like my brother is so natural at it that I want him to be that. I don't want to be the one doing it all the time. So in the future here, yeah, you know, and when COVID happened, that it even made it worse because I couldn't even go over there. But I'm gonna be with him in the next week or two, and we're gonna do a lot of filming. And so there's gonna be a lot more of him on camera soon, and we're gonna do a lot more different styles of videos coming up. More, not Ross in particular, but just like, you know, more like, you know, like yeah, more like we're gonna be more on camera. It's not gonna be like so. I mean, the sneaker history videos are great. They're like very informational, and like they have a lot of value, and people get a lot from them. But
Mhm.
you know, there's also this like, you know, it's not gonna last forever. So we are gonna switch things up here soon, and he's gonna be a big part of that.
That's cool to hear. Yeah, I mean, there's only, I mean, the sneaker history videos are terrific. I really love them. The work you guys put in is awesome. But I think you're right that there is kind of maybe a lack of the in-person videos or like the on-the-ground stuff. And I think there's definitely opportunity to do it, and it would be really great. Um, oh, you made some point about, shit, I forgot. Anyway, I think I'll just
Well, I
move.
appreciate it, bro. I appreciate that you saying that you like the videos. I really, seriously, every time somebody tells me that, I'm super grateful, dude, that anybody would even spend their time watching the videos. So thank you.
Yeah, of course, man. Um, let me see here. Okay, so let's just jump right into the like sneaker based stuff. So, obviously, you and your boy been doing this for 5 years. You and Nacho been doing it for about 5, 6 years. So, I remember you just saying that like maybe shoes weren't so big to you growing up. They weren't a focus. You had other things on your mind. Did you recall the time that you like first started focusing on them, or they first like came into your attention for a big in a big way?
That's a good question. I appreciate it. When I was a younger, skateboarding was a big part of my life, like huge part of my like it was. I was like a little skate rat. Like I even dropped out of school to skate. I made like sponge me tapes. Like that's what I wanted to do until I like tore my ACL. And in skateboarding culture, there was like there's like sneaker culture as well. In skateboard culture, there's like skate shoes. There was like skate shoes that you were after. And
Totally.
there's status symbols, just like how a pair of Travis Scott Jordan 1s are today. Like back then, like if you had SXL, 10 SXLs with the fat laces, you were fresh. Like so fresh that like me and my friend Brandon, we would go to this skate shop in Fresno called Copeland's,
Mm-hmm.
and they had like a 2 for $50 sale, and we would buy like one pair to keep in our backpack and then one pair to skate. So we
Mm-hmm.
would like skate, and then we would pull the other pair out when we were done chilling after like a shower, and we would like go to a party or something like that.
Oh
So
yeah.
even back then, like it was pretty apparent to me. And Nacho, of course, he's my brother, so he was right next door to me in his room, and he had like his sneakers, and like he didn't even know it, but I was like even sometimes I would even rock his stuff because he had like the early SBs.
Mm-hmm.
He had like the
Nice.
Reese Forbes. He had like some denim dunks that I used to wear. I never skated none of his shoes, but like I had homies who like had we called them the Jedi's SB dunks, and back then it was for me. I guess the first sneaker would have been that I was like after was like SB dunks. Like I remember the Danny Stupas. Like when Nike SB first started and they made that announcement with Costin and P Rod and stuff. Like I was one of the few skaters who wasn't like, fuck Nike, like that's stupid. Like
Yeah.
they're gonna ruin the skateboarding culture. I was somebody who was like into it,
Yeah.
and back then I remember wanting so bad some SBs, and I had some GRs. I never had anything crazy, but just a general silhouette. I think the first thing I like started chasing was the dunk, and then as I got after my injury, I like was sitting in my bed. The doctor told me I would never be able to skateboard again, which was a lie. I started skating again, and then I got hurt again. But
Damn.
yeah, I was sitting there thinking like, what am I gonna do in my life? And I got into music, and then once I got into music, like, and I went to music school, like, shoes were like meant nothing to me. Like, I would wear like dress shoes and like to the ground, or I would
Oh
wear
yeah.
like just like my Nacho would like he'd give me like some Reebok classics, and I would just wear them until they like disintegrated.
Yeah.
And then eventually, yeah, then the channel started, and then when I really got into sneakers, I think the first pair of sneakers that I bought, which was like around that time when the channel started, I'm trying to think. Oh, I remember there were the Gons. You know who Gons is? Mark Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like a famous skateboarder. He had a collab with Adidas,
Okay.
and he had like he calls it the Shmoo logo, and it's like the Adidas logo, but it's like a ghost.
Okay.
And he did his own superstar with the ghost patches all over it.
That sounds pretty dope.
And yeah, I remember being like, "Oh, that's fucking fire!" I think I was doing a video on Adidas when I found it,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how I like fell into sneakers, like doing research for the videos, learning about the history and stuff. And I remember being like, I had to have those, and like I stayed up like researching how am I gonna get them, and I was scared they were gonna sell out. So like I like copped them like the second they dropped,
Oh yeah.
and that was like my first like, modern day like sneaker drop, where I was like, when they came in, I was like stoked.
Oh
But
yeah.
I didn't even know my size. I was like, I bought him a half size too big, so I gave him to my brother Nacho. But I would say that was my first like purchase where I was like just like drooling over the sneakers. Not even as like an icon, not even as like a social symbol like how it was with the skate shoes. Because with the skate shoes, I was a teenager, so like the SBs were like, if you had those, you were cool.
Oh yeah.
But this was just like straight up, just like intuition, like, oh, that speaks to me. Like I like, I love Mark Gonzalez. I have a background in skateboarding.
Yeah.
I love Adidas, and that's why I bought it. And it wasn't like a social thing. And so I would say, yeah, that was my intro, for sure.
That's cool. The gateway shoe. That's super
Yeah,
cool.
that was the gateway shoe.
It's pretty crazy how a lot of those like skate shoes have come and gone. Like I think back to those days, like I skated when I was really young. So I'm 99 and like so I skated when I was young when all these shoes were like on the market. And so I remember like all the DCs with the fat tongues and the Supras and the Osiris. I was a little too young to have the Nike SB shoes, but I remember kids growing into them and seeing it all the time and really not thinking much of it. But I'm sure to somebody like you who was a bit before me was like, saw it as a bit of a
Yeah,
game
bro.
changer.
Yeah, the Osiris D3s.
Mm-hmm.
I had those.
Oh.
I was like when they first came out, like I went to the skate shop and I was like, I won't give me those.
Oh yeah.
You know?
I missed
Those
those.
crazy like spider look, those huge ones.
Oh.
I skated those.
Oh yeah.
I had those. I had an Element board. I must have been like 12 or something, but I had them. Like my dad bought them for me, and I shredded in them.
Oh yeah, that was definitely an era of gaudiness and some fun. But yeah, I mean, I find it just bewildering how much the Dunks have regained value and like the SBs, it just like in general, like I think it's pretty wild and pretty cool for you that you were able to just get some shoes that you didn't really think would maybe ever be any different from like a pair of Lakais or DCs back then.
Oh, back then the Lakais and the DCs was everything, dude. Like the Mike Moe Lakais and the Mike Carrolls and stuff. Like among our skater friends, that was like the Joe Freshgoods New Balance. Like everybody wanted those in the skate community. And like if somebody had, like, oh, you have those, So the Costins, like the S Costins that came out, that look like Jordans, or the Stevie Williams DCs.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Shoes, they look like Jordans, like Jordan 12s. That right there was like sneaker culture. I didn't realize it at the time, but I was like fiending for those,
Yeah. Yeah, it's like just sitting in the back of our minds, but then eventually it came up. Yeah. Yeah, so that's a really good shoe to have first. So next, let's see. Tell me about some like other iconic shoes that maybe like, so obviously started with the SB and then like what grew from there, like what caught your eye next, like any like, so you're 90s guy, right? When you were in college?
No, I was born in the 90s.
Okay.
I mean, I was born in 1990, so college, I was like, 2000s. I don't know when that was. 2000. I finished college in 2011. And I didn't go to like a 4-year college. I went to a music school, for like 2 years. So,
that's super.
I think
yeah. Sorry to interrupt, but what did you play? Like, you went to music school?
I played guitar. I went to this school in Hollywood called GIT or MI, Musicians Institute, and I studied guitar there. They taught me like jazz theory, and fell in love with jazz and like learned how to. I always played guitar even before then, but I learned like how to organize all the notes. I knew all the notes. I knew all the chords. Like now when I listen to music, it's different. No, it's not different. It's just organized in a way.
Yeah.
I can remember music easily. Because of music theory, I can communicate with other musicians. Like if somebody gives me a chart, I could show up to like a gig or something. I mean, as long as the music's not too crazy and just like we can just do it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Thanks to music school. So I did go to school for guitar, but like what I learned in school was more like, and of course I learned how to do all this stuff on the guitar, but the guitar was
Sure.
sort of just like a instrument to like actually learn music, and then from there I started like learning how to play the piano, and now it's just like one thing. It's not just guitar. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I did music school, or I was raised playing music, so I did piano and drums, and so hearing about any other musicians is pretty cool, and it really is like a different language that you have to learn
Mhm.
and know how to read, and it's hard to teach others because you got to be
Yeah,
a type of person to understand it.
yeah, for sure. At one point I was like teaching. Well, it's just one kid. How to. I just had one student, and I went to my first lesson with him, and I was like, well, I've been playing music for like 25 years, so I guess I'm gonna be good. So I showed up, just like I thought I was just gonna wing it, and he had like dexterity in his fingers and stuff. He
Mm-hmm.
was pretty good, but I just remember being like, fuck, like I don't know what to do. Like I didn't know what to teach him. I was so
Uh-huh.
bad at teaching. And then I just like went back home and I was like, dude, teaching is not easy. I got a plan for this. So I started planning for it every time. And the whole like secret to teaching, at least for me, like guitar, was like you got to spend like an hour or two before the lesson preparing like what you're going to teach and how like it's going to translate to the student and like what kind of value and benefit they're going to get from it.
Yeah.
So yeah, teaching is really it's not as easy as some people think. That's why I like. Yeah, I'm sure you've come across some like really good musicians, and you ask them like to teach you, and they're just like terrible teachers.
Oh,
As
yeah.
good as the musicians they are, they're just like it's just like, dude.
They're good learners, but not good teachers.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's pretty cool. That's a really nice thing to do. I mean, teaching in any subject is great, but music is just such a great thing to be spread. So back
Oh yeah.
back to the original question of like some other notable players or shoes that
Oh,
you discovered after your fascination with the SB.
yeah. I guess what I would say like my favorite silhouette of all time is well after the Air Force One would be this sneaker called the Adidas ZX 8000.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I have like tons of those.
Mm-hmm.
I have some sitting right there in the background, those green ones.
Okay.
The Atmos ZX 8000s, and for me, that sneaker is like I don't know what like it. And again, it's like just intuition. Like we've never done a history video about it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just a sneaker that I always thought was like fire. Like when I saw the Aqua, the OG, colorway of this shoe, I was just fascinated with the way it looked, and then I started reading into the technology with the torsion bar system in the sole, and I don't know, it just called to me, and then one of my best friends who's into sneakers as well, his name's Q.
Mm-hmm.
He's really into this model too, so we both like kind of just like started sending each other like basically the whole Adidas ZX line, like
Mm-hmm.
the early ZX. I have a ZX 1000s back there, the ZX 4000, like 10,000, all those the ZX model for me was like I don't know, it was special. The Spezial, the Adidas, like the stuff
Oh
in
yeah.
the UK.
Yeah, those are nice.
I don't know why that stuff always called to me. So I would say that's one.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said before, the Air Force One was the sneaker that I always had like nostalgia for, just because of the era that I grew up in. Even though I actually I did wear them back then on multiple occasions, just like to keep them clean, just like all white Air Force Ones in high school and stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
like that's just a sneaker that I love. It's like it just looks so good, and I love to make like custom Air Force
Mm-hmm.
Ones on Nike by You, and
Oh,
I
that's
love
so
to
fun.
like, yeah, it's the best. Like if you could just sit there on your phone and just make them and never order them.
Yeah.
I have like 4 of them, but
Oh, they're just
so I'd say
dying to
those
be
two.
ordered.
those two silhouettes are my favorite sneakers that have, sort of like come to surface after all these years of doing research for the videos and making the videos and stuff. And then I guess the most recent, like, man, I wouldn't say it's really a silhouette, but it's a series. The 990 New Balance series.
Yeah.
That's really also like something that I really love.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. We did make a video about the 990 series on the channel, and through that I was like, dude, this is that my brother Nacho, he has a huge collection of 997s and 998s.
Mm-hmm.
And I was always like, yeah, they're cool, they're all right. But once I did the video and I learned about the history of the shoe, and I learned about the technology in the shoe, and like how like premium it is, and when I bought my first I was a 990 V5, just classic gray New Balance, that iconic New Balance gray, and it's just the most comfortable sneaker you could buy, man.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. Like when normal people ask me, like when my friends ask me who aren't into sneakers, which are most my friends, when they ask me, yo, recommend a shoe, like I'm going to Europe for 2 weeks or whatever, or Dubai or wherever the fuck they're gonna go, I always recommend that shoe first.
Mm-hmm.
It is a $200 shoe.
Yeah.
So most of them are like, oh, that's too expensive, and then I have to like choose another shoe. But that's a sneaker that I'm passionate about, or that series. I just think it's groundbreaking in a way that's not even like gimmicky at all.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's pretty amazing how like these series can come along, like the ZX or like a Boost or something that just becomes so quickly a part of everyone's collection, or such a favorite, and maybe for elements that like maybe existed in other shoes. Like you mentioned the torsion bar and the ZX, and that's like in a lot of the old Adidas shoes, but like, hey, it came back and all these parts just meshed in this perfect model that became a whole series. And same with the New Balance. It's like, to me, not that I don't believe the New Balance hype, but I think I just have different feet, and I've heard the 990s like so comfortable, and maybe I got to get my feet in some, but to me, I don't know, it just like doesn't seem like that much better than like a Huarache or a Boost or something. But
yeah, I mean, in terms of style, it's an acquired taste, but in terms of like the whole point of the 990 is like, or at least the modern versions of it, like the 990 V5 and the soon to come out 990 V6, like if there's a flagship New Balance store in your city, then you should go in there, and they have like this machine that like the sales associate will put you on. So make sure like you take a shower and you have socks on. But anyways, they'll put you on this machine, and they'll like measure your feet and everything. And the beauty about New Balance is they have like a million sizes, right? They have like, but for me, I think I'm a 10 standard, so it's 10D, but you might be a 10E, or maybe your feet are super wide, so you're a 10 double E, or maybe your feet are super narrow, so their whole idea is like fit, the way a shoe fits.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's why, I don't know, I would say, go get fitted at a New Balance store or at any running store. Or any like running specialty shoe store, and they'll help you with that.
Okay. For sure.
Yeah.
I also think it's pretty cool that like, seems like those shoes of yours that were your favorite like definitely have a root in your childhood, or like some experience that you are fond of growing up. And same with Nacho. I remember his video about like his favorite sneaker being the Reebok Ventilator, because it was like part of his childhood, and maybe not like this big old flex, but it's a favorite. It feels good. It's just perfect. And like for me, my first shoe that like got me into sneakers big time was a pair of Adidas Superstars that my grandma bought me. They were like red, white, and blue stripes, and so I was like, these are dope. It was a choice between those or white and green stripes, and I was like, these are like putting me on the map. And that's when, like, I think it was 2015, like Stan Smiths had like just hit the shelves again, and Superstars were like the thing. Adidas passed Nike in sales for like a year, very briefly, but like that moment like of getting the shoes and like admiring them and wearing them around with friends and eventually going to buy my own pair of Sambas. That was the first pair I bought with my own money. It was like Adidas was my brand, and it was like
Yeah,
it
man.
made me a fan for life of shoes and what it was all about and sharing the love with friends and others.
Yeah, I think people underestimate like the power of nostalgia and like the goodness of it. Like a lot of people like it's a mixed feeling, nostalgia. I think if you look it up, it's like a like the actual definition is like a mixed feeling of sadness and like fun and happiness or something.
Mm-hmm.
But if and I guess that's true. Like if you get too much, if you have too much of it, but like you get older, you get like not just he's always said this, but like you get older, and you know you have money now, and you can like you know buy the things that you couldn't buy before,
Mm-hmm.
and they just bring a joy to your life, and that's the reason why the channel has been you know somewhat successful on YouTube is because of nostalgia. When people watch, like the last video we put out was, I think it's called, I forget what it's called. It's called like the '90s basketball sneakers that defined an era,
Was
right?
that like
And it's
out in the last week?
yeah,
Yeah.
came out last week, and
Yeah.
like that's pure nostalgia. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yo, I remember when I had those, or damn, I wish they would retro
Oh
those,
yeah. The
and so
Grant
right
Hills, the
now
Shaqs, the
the
Jordans. Yeah.
Shaqs and like the Superstar. I mean, that was of course that's a nostalgic shoe.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a good first shoe for you, you know, to have, you know.
Oh yeah. Good training wheels for sure.
Yeah.
Um, so I'll move on to like another sort of like adjacent question. So like, were you big into sports? Did you have any athletes or maybe like athlete endorsed shoes that you cared about at the time, or not much?
No, I've never been like. I mean, yeah, in terms of skateboarding, yes. I wanted like Paul Rodriguez. Like I grew up. I'm Mexican or Mexican American, whatever you want to call it, and
Sure.
so is he. And like, so he was like my idol as a kid. So I wanted all his shoes
Mm-hmm.
because of that. And like his line was, I wanted the P Rod ones and the P Rod twos, and I could never get them and stuff. So in terms of like following someone's career in that way, I would say it started with skateboarding, but like as I became more interested in sneakers in general, I never really gravitated towards like a specific line
Mm-hmm.
uh, when it came to like a player or something like that. But I do love sports. I'm a huge fan of the Clippers, the Los Angeles Clippers, and like I love Kawhi and Paul George and stuff. And um, you know, I'm really into the Clippers, so I love basketball. Like
I got to bust on my
basketball.
Lakers shirt, bro.
You got Vassell. Are you in LA?
So I'm born and raised in Ventura, which is like an hour from LA.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm Dodgers, Kings, Rams,
There you
Lakers.
go. I'm pretty much all that except for Lakers. I'm a Clippers fan, so
That's fair.
that's just the way it happened. I don't know. I have nothing. I'm not like one of those Clippers fans. Well, sometimes I can be like fuck the Lakers sometimes, but for the
Sure.
most part, I'm like I'm cool with I love watching the Lakers play too, and I'm honestly like I think for the first time this season because they did so bad,
Oh,
like
jeez, yeah.
I was literally like, please win a game. Like I was literally rooting for them. I was like, come on, come on, Bron, come on, Westbrook, and like, so I'm really big into sports, and but for some reason it's just never been like, I've never been into like basketball shoes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a hoop. Like I don't play basketball,
Sure.
so it's weird. It's like it's kind of disconnected in a way for me.
Okay.
Even though it is connected, like in a sense, like it's like separate for me. I don't know. I don't know why. That's just the way it is for me. I'm sure in the future, like I'll, you know how it is. You get obsessed with one thing, and then you overdo it, and you get bored of it, and then, who knows? I might get into like basketball, like modern basketball shoes, and that might be the new thing, So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I was never much into basketball. I mean, I played a little growing up, and once I got to college, I started playing again. And once I started playing again, I definitely started paying attention to more shoes. And so I see LeBrons and Kyries and Giannis and all
Mhm.
those players all around all the time. So it's, and sometimes see some Jordans or like a Puma Clyde, and it's fun to see the mix of people's footwear and just like, I mean, it's, no fault of yours of not wanting to play. I think you have a very like fair niche, like you're big into skating, and while you're aware of
Yeah,
some basketball shoes, it's not your thing, and it's not for everybody. You can still love the shoes and admire the sport and the skill or whatever, even if you don't do it yourself. That's how I was
yeah,
with skating. I mean, I was like okay, but I looked up to the skaters a lot more than I like got good at it. So
right, yeah, yeah, yeah. I think, I think I like the history of basketball shoes and like iconic moments behind them, and I love to learn that stuff and relive that stuff through learning about sneakers. But like modern NBA, like I'm not like hyped about like the new Zion shoe
yeah,
or it's cool to see like LaMelo Ball get a signature sneaker,
yeah,
and and I'm like paying attention to that for
hmm,
sure. But it's not something like um I'm more hyped about like a retro, like again like a ZX. Like today they just dropped a Kawasaki ZX 8000. I don't know if you saw that.
okay,
Do you know that one bike from the '90s? It's like a green, blue, and a white.
the
It's
motorcycle.
called, yeah, the motorcycle, the Kawasaki Ninja.
Oh yeah,
So they did a ZX 8000 version of it's that colorway, and it says Ninja on the side of it,
whoa,
on the lateral side.
uh-huh,
It was 120 bucks, and I got the email, the Adidas email. I was like, oh, these are so fire. I want them so bad, but I just right now I'm on like on a buying pause. I can't really buy sneakers right now
yeah, bro,
because of
definitely
money.
feel you there.
Yeah,
What that's funny you mention like the collab, because I mean that sounds cool, but sometimes I see some collabs sometimes that really make me scratch my head, and I wonder like who is the person, like was it Adidas or was it, I don't know, the Simpsons or
yeah.
South Park or like Reebok and like some Candyland shit I think they had a while back. It's like who of these two wanted it more, and like
I don't know, man. I think Adidas like really is blowing it when it comes to that kind of thing.
mm-hmm,
I think Nike does a better job of like being more selective about who they collab with.
yeah,
But sometimes it is just like what, like this is so stupid. Like I think who's like is sort of like a whore for collabs is Vans.
yeah, yeah,
They do like Disney, and they did. I saw they did a Arizona iced tea,
yeah, I remember seeing that one.
and I just thought to myself like that is so like dumb.
I would maybe get it
It's
for like a
dumb.
Vans if they did like a blue and pink checkered or something. But I remember Adidas did
Yeah,
Arizona,
no, but they literally like the way they did it was like it was literally like the classic like teal
the flower
Arizona that
print.
you yeah, and they did the print on the Vans Authentic or whatever the shoe was, and I just remember thinking like that's just like I mean I guess it works, like that kind
Sure.
of stuff sells at like stores like Spencer's or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's like a niche I guess for that. So I mean obviously they're a business and they know what the bottom line is and what their margins are, but like in terms of like brand heritage, like what is that? Makes no
Yeah.
sense to me.
It's almost like detached from the bigger story. It's just like a little cash grab on the side or something.
It's a cash grab. It's like straight up just capitalist. I
Yeah,
mean,
for real.
which is basically just what sneakers is.
Yeah.
But some people do it good. You know, I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
Not buying a sneaker. I'm aware that I'm being manipulated by like these big brands and stuff, and that's
Yeah.
fine. But when it's like that, like insulting, in a way,
Yeah.
I'm just like, dude, get out of here. It makes me like think less of the brand.
Yeah, totally.
So it's not good for the brand in that way. Like in terms of like, I mean, there's more people out there who aren't sneakerheads who buy shoes.
Sure.
They cater to sneakerheads with, I guess, like retros and stuff, and then they cater to like the general like person who's like, oh, this is like quirky and this is like hip, like I guess ironic. So I'm
Sure.
gonna buy these. So that makes sense too. So I have empathy for that, but I feel like New Balance, somebody like New Balance is more like, that's why they're killing it right now, and that's why you're hearing about them more, is because they are more like
Focused.
Reserved
Yeah.
in terms of like what they put out.
Yeah.
In a way, it's more thoughtful. How about that?
Yeah, I would definitely agree. Somebody like a Nike or a New Balance, like when you know they got a collab coming, you know that like both teams had some real thought into it.
Yeah.
And know that like big money's on the line, and so
Yeah.
I don't know if somebody like an Adidas or like a Fila or something like has as much to lose, or what their motive is going into it. But yeah, I think that there's like an element of the authenticity of the brand is like diminished if you see the name associated with something you don't like or doesn't seem on brand.
Yeah. Yeah, for sneakerheads it does like, it definitely like it does I don't know. For me personally, I mean, this is all subjective. So for them, I
Sure.
guess it might be good. They might be selling like crazy. You never know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think that I wish brands like Adidas and brands like Fila and brands like Puma would go more like into their archives and take more risks that way.
Totally agree.
Because look what happened with New Balance. They brought out the 550.
Yeah.
You know that shoe?
Yeah.
Which was like this unknown like 80s basketball shoe.
Oh,
designed by Steven Smith, by the way, the director of design for Yeezy.
Oh, wow.
And he told us on a podcast. I didn't know that. He didn't even remember it. He's like, I think I designed that shoe.
It's so
I worked
trippy.
on it. I know, but he's done so much in the industry that he didn't even know. But that shoe is now like the hottest shoe of the summer
Yeah.
for like the past 2 years now. And like, it's good for New Balance. Like maybe Puma should do that. Or maybe, Adidas has a lot of fire stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And they, you know what? I give them credit for doing it with the Forum.
Yeah. Forum for sure.
With Bad Bunny and stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's that.
Yeah, they definitely made their strides there, and that kind of like brings me to another question about like current trends, past trends, future trends. Like, clearly there's a lot of love for retros, like we were talking about the Superstars and Stan Smiths came back maybe 5-6 years ago, big time, and like really to me, I didn't remember the Forces getting big until 2019 or 20, and that's when I just saw them everywhere, and that's when. Before, like me, I personally love vintage clothes, and I've been a white shoe dude since middle school, and but basically once the Air Force hit mega status again, every brand was rushing to put out their white shoe or their Air Force clone, the Adidas put out their Forums, and Reebok was heavy on putting back their BB 4600s and their Club C's, and Puma with their Ralph Sampsons, and the baskets, and redoing all that stuff. Clearly there's trends, and these brands are aware, and I don't know if there's, and Nike owns Converse, and for whatever reason there's been no push for any weapons or fast breaks or any of those clear studs from the cavalcade of their library. I mean, they've got a lot to work with, but I don't know, it's kind of selective, or they're maybe pushing out. I think with New Balance, they were getting their foot in on that game of the white sneaker. Let's try it, see if it works. And since it looked so good and had such good materials, it was such a hit. But maybe if they put out something cheaper or shittier, it wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, I think they did a good job of just having allowing people who actually have taste to do something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Teddy Santes, I'm a Leon Dore, the ALD stuff that he's done. Or how about Ronnie Feig with Kith?
Oh, yeah.
What he did with it for Asics. You know what I mean? And Joe Freshgoods, you saw with New Balance. Now he's the creative director for New Balance, and Teddy Santes, the founder of ALD, is the creative director for their 990 line. And so they're kind of when you think about a big company, they're taking risks by doing that.
Yeah.
To me, that's not a risk. that's common sense. Like put the people like people who like have good taste like this, you know, in charge. Like
Yeah.
so, but for like a big company that's like they have like meetings about this, and they're like, I don't know, blah, 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 blah. But like if they should put somebody like that in charge at Fila, or or somebody who like somebody who actually cares.
Yeah.
And but they're more thinking about like how much they're gonna make for the quarter or whatever. I don't know. I
Yeah.
have no idea. But also these brands, they're huge brands, so
Yeah.
you never know. Like maybe like Nike does want to do the Converse. It's just not gonna happen until 2024. The weapons or whatever.
Sure. Yeah, it could definitely be a delayed rollout.
Yeah.
I think like maybe this is just my young perception, but like somebody like a Nike or like Adidas sometimes, but like they really can read the youth, and that's like kind of what a Fila or like a Reebok or maybe even a Puma is like missing, is like somebody who is like on the ground and can basically like point out to people like, hey, like these shoes you're putting out are garbage. Like start over and put out something that looks like something people would wear and is priced at a price people can afford. I don't know. That's probably just too like wishful thinking of like a perfect CEO, but I don't know how that sort of thinking isn't rampant when coming up with new products.
I know, right? Like I don't know how like it blows my mind.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I don't know why. It's just like it's probably a lot harder than it sounds, but at the same time, it's like do better, Especially like Fila.
Yeah.
You know what I
Most
mean?
definitely. Okay, so I'll try and bring it towards the end of the conversation, but sort of going off like the current trends, future trends. Obviously this industry is freaking huge. It's $1 billion. Do you think that it being so big is a good thing? Bad thing? So much availability, maybe some new sort of obstacles to climb, or bad, stores are way less full of stock, prices are
It's
up.
not something. It's not something I really thought about, to be honest with you. But like off the top of my head, I think it's a good thing. Like like I was talking to my brother yesterday, and I was telling him like, yo, you should buy like your son some some kicks, some sneakers. Like it'll probably like boost his self-esteem because he's 13 years old, and maybe you guys could bond over it. So I think like sneakers is really cool for like community, and like I have like a private Facebook group of like people, and it's just like sneakers is just kind of like it's just like it's kind of like a conversation starter, but like it brings joy into people's lives. Well, at least like sneaker enthusiasts, people who are into sneakers, and like the more people who are like connected in that way, the better, I think. So I see it as a good thing. Like, why not? Why not get bigger? You know what I mean? I don't think it's a bad thing. I think if anything, the thing that I don't like about the current state of the sneaker world is the reselling. It's just too much, man. It's just like, it's just too much. I just don't like the reselling aspect of it, and like the hype and all that stuff. Like, I think brands should like, obviously, bots are bad for like resellers are bad for sneakers, because like, for example, like I might be, wanting to get into sneakers, and I'm like watching like like one of my videos or something, as in like, I'm just like as a viewer, and I'm like, I want to buy these sneakers, and you like wake up at 7 a.m. if you're on the West Coast, and you try to hit on the sneakers app, and like you take an L, and you're like, damn, that was a terrible feeling. And then you wake up the next day, and like, okay, well, I'll try for these, and you don't get them.
Yeah.
You're like, damn, well, I really want these. So you go on StockX, and they're like, $200 more. And so it not only does it make you have like, it makes you like feel like, fuck sneakers, but it also like makes you have contempt for the brand.
Yeah.
In a way. So I guess that's like one thing I'd like to see improved. Like the reselling just needs to calm down a little bit for me.
Yeah.
Some people are out there doing it and like, get your money or whatever, but at the same time I'm like, can't we fix this? Like,
Yeah.
can't we fix this somehow? So I feel like there should be like a bigger conversation and transparency between like brands on how to like be a little more not honest, what was the word? Fair.
Yeah.
I wish the sneaker game was a little more fair.
Yeah. I do
what I
too,
mean?
for sure.
But from a business standpoint, it makes sense. Like you want things to sell out in seconds, so
yeah.
it's probably never going to change until like, I don't know, the government steps in or something.
Yeah, people totally boycott Nike. That wouldn't happen in a long time, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of a shame that like when people, I mean, unless you're like in it, like if you just say sneakers to people, they'll think Chucks, maybe like some Adidas, because people don't pay too much attention to the things on their feet as much as like their shirt or their hat. But like if you're in it and you know a thing or two, like if you say I'm selling sneakers or like I'm buying sneakers, then instantly the thought is like, oh, I'm going on StockX and getting like some $400 dunks, or I'm selling them for like $500 after I bought them for $2. And it's kind of poisoned at least an outsider's perspective to a certain degree, but I think you're right, is like it ultimately, like this expansion and this like widely distributed love of shoes that's kind of happened over this internet social media age is like, hey, more people know and more people are into it, and it's good for originality and self-expression and just being yourself, and it's better for the companies too because they just make more money and everyone's happy.
Yeah, and it's just going to keep getting bigger, and then we'll see what happens. Like maybe, I mean, you saw that Nike bought that like virtual sneaker company.
Oh no.
The NFT, they're gonna make like I forget, I don't know, I forget the name of the company, but you should look it up.
Okay.
So maybe that's the future. We're gonna have like virtual sneakers. Who knows?
Who knows, man?
But that's a conversation for another day, my friend.
Yeah. Are you having to get going here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Gotta get going.
I was gonna have one last question for you about the
future.
Go ahead. Okay, I was gonna say.
Go ahead.
Last question is like what, and then maybe just like a tiny little brief follow up at the end about maybe something your channel's doing in the future. But last question is like, where do you see sneakers going? Like, do you see, like, if you've seen the Nike BB Adapts or like all these like basically like computer cybernetic shoes, like, is that the future? Do we see more tries at retros? What do you think?
I can't predict the future.
Sure.
I have no idea. But I do think that like more and more people are getting, into NFTs and digital assets and things like that. And I do think like, that's going to be a player like in the future for like maybe 5-10 years from now. I don't know, who knows how long, but maybe like one day, we'll be in a virtual world, and we'll have like virtual sneakers in our closet. Like, as crazy as it sounds, but I think that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
For sure. But I also think it's not just gonna be like, oh, you're getting left behind and everything that you love about sneakers and sneaker culture is done. Like, I think it's just gonna be both.
Sure.
I mean, there's always gonna be old heads, and there's always gonna be like people who just like love the physical sneakers and stuff like that, but I just think it's gonna expand to more like a digital world for sneakers, and I think it's just gonna be, I think that's gonna be like the new thing, I guess, or like the thing that the next thing in sneakers might, I think maybe might be like, a digital version of a sneaker, and then I also think they're not gonna just ignore. I think that retro is just still gonna be happening and all that stuff. So
yeah,
probably that, and then for my YouTube channel, just to answer your question, I think Well, we just launched a Patreon, and it's something I put a lot of thought into with my brother, and it's like, something I really put a lot of thought into it. And basically, what it is, it's like a gateway for you to get in to our private sneaker Facebook group of 5,000 people,
Mm-hmm.
and like, man, it's just the best thing we've ever done. It's better than the channel, to be honest. And to be honest, I spend more energy on feeding that than the channel.
Yeah.
And so, like, we're doing like live shows in there. We're doing like sneaker battle tournaments with like the playoff brackets, and we do like a trophy. And so I'm gonna be plugging that a lot more in the next couple of videos, and more more on the ground stuff, more creative video ideas, and hopefully we'll get 1 million subscribers.
Hell yeah.
I don't know, who knows, man. I don't know, but we're just definitely gonna keep doing it. Like, it's not going anywhere. We're definitely still gonna do sneaker history videos, but there's gonna be some new video ideas coming out soon from the channel, and definitely more my brother on camera. So
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah, I love the Facebook group. The Patreon's got some good stuff, and I mean, it's a great deal you guys got going on over there.
Are you in the Facebook group?
I was for a little bit. I haven't checked up in a bit because I think last time I was on it wasn't very active. But
Really? What the hell? Seriously?
I know. I think I'm
You were
just not
in the
good with
Sneaker
Facebook.
Enthusiast Facebook group?
What's that?
You were in the group and it wasn't active?
Yeah,
What?
I know.
Yeah,
I think
dude.
I'm just not good with Facebook because like a community like that is the perfect place for me.
Oh, bro, you should get on there. It's like 75 to 100 posts a day.
Damn, I don't know what was going on that day.
Yeah,
I checked it out.
And like, well, you said you're on the West Coast, right?
So now I'm in Colorado, so I'm an hour
Oh,
ahead of
okay.
you, but
Okay, yeah, no, you should be good. Some people like who are in the group are like in the UK and stuff, and so
Oh.
like they get everything later.
I see.
But like now it's expanded so much that like we have homies in the Philippines, homies in London, and it's like it's just constantly going. Like we have admins and stuff, and it's cracking now. So if you're still in it, you should. If you were in it before, then
Yeah, I think so.
if you're not in it anymore, let me know and I'll get you in.
Yeah, so I think my like other question was how often are you guys posting on the Patreon? Because I think I was a part of that, and that's how I got in the group, and I think I just stopped after a time. So
You joined the Patreon? I mean, the Patreon's only like what?
how long have you guys
Two-
had it? Because I think I joined it
2
like
weeks
last
old?
year.
No way, dude. We just launched it like
Are you
2 weeks
serious?
ago. Yeah.
Okay, then I joined the Facebook group before you had the Patreon.
Yeah, okay, then yeah. You must have joined like super early when we were only like 100 deep or something, but now we're
Yeah.
like 5,000.
Okay.
And the only way to get into the group is through joining the Patreon.
Okay.
But if you were a part of it before, then you don't have to pay. But if you want to get into the group now, it's just $2 a month, which
Okay.
is like nothing if you're gonna buy. If you're gonna buy a pair of like $220 like Jordan 11s, like the ones I have over there,
Oh yeah.
then you can afford to pay $20 a month for 20. I mean 22, whatever, $24 whatever the math
A
is,
year.
$24 a year for
Oh, yeah.
like this really cool community. Where like right now we're doing a group member spotlight series where we're like bringing on like people in the group, and we're like bringing them on a live show in the group.
Mhm.
And there's like categories, like the sneaker that got you into sneakers,
Sure.
or the house or your house is burning, which sneaker you're gonna grab, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we do like a countdown, and then you show the sneaker and you talk about it, and you get to show your collection and talk to people in the group, and it's a lot of fun, man. So that's really like community building
Yeah.
is the best part about having like a following on social media on whatever platform it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's why like if you see our videos, like most of the comments are replied to,
Oh
So-
yeah.
because that's what I really care about personally. And I think Nacho too. It's just real positive. It's like an escape, dude.
Oh yeah.
That group is like an escape for me. And I've heard it. I've gotten emails and I've talked to other people in the group, and it's the same thing for them. So
Yeah, I mean, it's a great break for everybody. It's like a great community. It's a great escape for people who share the same love. And I mean, yeah, it's a cheap price. And I mean, why not be a part of that great community if you can afford it and I mean, like that, like your guest spots. I mean, that sounds like a great opportunity for somebody just
Yeah.
like somebody like me, or just somebody in the community who, hey, I can go talk to them for a little bit, or I can
Yeah,
play
man.
this
It's
little
just
game, or be, you know,
it's
answer
all
the
love.
posts.
Yeah. At some point, we're gonna start like a separate YouTube channel just for like the content that we make in there because it's a
Mhm.
lot.
Okay, that's
So
cool.
you'd be on the lookout for that.
All right, good to hear. Yeah, I'm a patron of like one other channel, and like I'm a like being a part of that community is better than a YouTube channel, like you said. I mean, it's a whole different group of people that cares more, and like you just feel more engaged. So I think it's about time I become part of the Nacho one. So
Yeah, dude. Check it out, man.
hell yeah.
All right, brother. Well, it was a pleasure speaking with you, Kevin.
Yeah, thanks again, Brian. I really appreciate your time.
No problem.
Recording stopped.
All right.
Perfect.
Cool. I think we're good.
All
All right,
right.
I'll send. So this video file is obviously gonna be pretty large.
Sure.
Do you want like? Are you gonna like put it into like Logic or something and edit it, or you just want like the video with the audio?
What I'm gonna do is, at least for my project, I'm gonna put it into Premiere and I'm gonna chop it up and probably use the audio, and probably just like put like a cover image or a still that's like a title card for the podcast, or I'll just
Okay.
use the video. So
Okay. Yeah. Well,
whatever's
then
the
I'll send
easier
you
way to send
everything.
it to me.
I'll send you everything. It's gonna be a hefty file, so give
Sure.
me like I'll probably send it by the end of the night.
Okay.
So it's probably like I think probably like a couple of gigs
Sure.
worth of stuff. So I'll upload it to a Dropbox and I'll send it over to you. But this was great, man. I really appreciate it, dude.
Yeah. Thank you again for your time. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, man. Happy to hop back on at some point.
Okay. Sure. Yeah. Anytime.
All right, brother.
All right. Thanks again for everything.
Yeah,
Have a
dude.
good
Nice
rest
to
of
meet
your
you,
night.
man. Yeah, hit me up anytime later.
Sure thing. Take care.